And a very good morning. Welcome to the daily pump preview for racing at Cheltenham on Friday, which will be Gold Cup day. Just a quick word now on Wednesday selections after seeing them run. I'm now talking to you again Thursday morning because I'm going to be away again for most of today and tomorrow and Saturday. Really busy period coming up for me now. Wednesday selections are nowhere near as good as Tuesday's. Obviously, poor offerings yesterday. We did get the Colossus up, but it paid absolutely nothing. I'm only really Ballyandy sort of saved the day. I should have been a bit braver and put top of the game up as a bet, but shoulda, woulda, it's gone now. Nothing we can do. I think Thursday selections, for those of you that will be watching the video early, I think we've got a bit more of a chance on Thursday. A little bit more confident of hitting a winner or two there. Anyway, we go on to Fridays. A lot's going to depend on how much rain falls in the night. The forecasts seem to vary. There is going to be some rain of that, there's no doubt. Calling it good to soft at the moment, and the wind will continue to dry it out. I think we'll probably end up with good to soft again tomorrow. It'll be the same forecast, I think, good to soft in places. But it still needs stamina. I think, it's got to be said, you still got to be getting up the hill. We've seen one or two not get up in the past few days as ever. And it's okay coming swinging there off that top bend, but there's a long way home from there. A long way home. The Triumph tomorrow does, on the face of it, you'd have to say, look, Sir Eric to lose. I'm trying to find sort of chinks in the armour and whatnot. The only sort of mild chink I can find, I suppose, is that the two races he's won have both been reasonably steadily run. The overall speed figures aren't great, but you'd be surprised, given he's 100 rated on the flat, that he wasn't capable of better if push comes to shove, and stamina is his long suit. So he looks hard to beat, I think, Sir Eric. I was trying to find something each way against him. The only two that made any sort of appeal at the prices were Pentland Hills and Nicky Henderson's only having the second run for the yard. It was mildly progressive for Chris Wall on the flat. Best at middle distances, seemed to handle most grounds, which is useful for tomorrow as well. But he took to hurdles really well at Plumpton and came right away to beat the Flying Safer by 10 lengths plus there. Looking like a useful horse. The time figure was decent enough. Now, I know Plumpton to Cheltenham is a completely different test, but I don't think they'd be wasting their time coming here. Certainly on breeding, he's got every chance of staying a bit further than 2 miles. So I think this 2-1 test will suit him. I think he's mildly interested. And so too Hannon, who I'm surprised is as big as sort of 40-1 this morning. And I think that's a little bit on the big side for a horse that... the worry again here would be the hill. I think... maybe he's a flat track horse, I don't know, but the way he stayed on at Naas last time suggests that he's not going to have any problem with an extra furlong at least, and that was a decent grade 2 at Naas. He split a pair of useful Gordon Elliott runners and almost got up, another couple of strides to have probably won the race. John McConnell, it will get ignored because he's sort of the least fancied, if you like, of the Irish runners. Everybody's going to be looking at the Gordon Elliott ones and the Joseph O'Brien ones, but I do think that John McConnell is not scared of taking on elders when he knows he's got a decent 4-year-old, which is what he did at Naas. I think he knows he's got a good one there. 40-1 is probably big enough for me to get involved with. Small each way, I think, especially if one or two are going to be betting 4 places on the race. We shall see. We shall see in the morning. Second race on the card, the County, the usual absolute nightmare. I put up a couple when I was doing some handicap pieces for the Racing Post a couple of weeks ago. They both line up and they both still have their chance. Western Rider being the first one. I'm no great fan of Western Rider. I do think he's not overhyped. Overhyped would be the wrong word, but for a horse that has some graded form to his name, I think he should have won a race or two by now. I think that's probably the better way of putting it. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is what he wants, an absolute flat out 2 mile in a big field, so that he can come there with every chance on the bridle, and he will fight on up the hill as well. If you look at his form this season, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. He was 5th in the Greatwood. That reads absolutely fine. That's a good race. So maybe this is what he wants. He'd be one that's on the short list. And so too Storm Rising. He ran at the weekend, 4th to Malaya at Sandown in what was very testing ground. This less testing ground will suit him. It's very hard to shake the image of him when he won here in October, when he never came off the bridle up the hill to beat a useful field. I mean, by no means this sort of class. but it's a hard image to shake. He never broke sweat to beat a decent lot. He probably still got some mileage in his mark, judging on the way that he ran on Saturday, and I think this has probably been the target all along this season. So I think Western Rider and Storm Rising are the two at the moment that interest me the most in the county. Not mad keen on the Albert Bartlett. I do like Birchdale. I think Birchdale's a really nice horse, and in some ways, even I know he's favourite, but 6-1 sort of tempts me a little bit for a win bet. I was when you watch the way that he won at Cheltenham, I think he would have beaten Brewing Up a Storm. But I think he would have beaten him. But at halfway at Cheltenham, he sort of diggled along and he's just only be chased into the bridle and he's not really going the pace. But the further they went into that race, the happier he was. And so he was coming to me to come and win the race up the hill and beat Brewing Up a Storm. And that form looks absolutely fine now. Brewing Up a Storm's already run well at Cheltenham earlier in the week when he was fourth. So I think this 3 mile trip is definitely going to suit Birchdale. I think there's a lot more to come from him. I like him a lot. He'd be my sort of first pick. And the bookmakers seem to have completely dismissed Nadia Tack's win at Doncaster when he beat a couple of favourites. He turned them over in good style. It was only a 4-runner race, but it was the River Don. But he turned them over in good style, and there wasn't any fluke about it. The cheap pieces that he had on that day seemed to make all the difference. And all he looked that day was an absolute relentless galloper, Nadia Tack. This will suit him. This test will suit him. And I can't believe he's 25s. I think that's too big each way. I think he should be half that price, to be perfectly honest. But he is that price because he's been written off. That run's been written off as a fluke. He'd been previously beaten at Doncaster at very short odds by Ratface McDougall. Forget that. The fact that the cheap pieces went on last time, he looked a different horse. I think that is the key. That is the key to Nadia Tack for me. 25-1 each way looks a perfectly acceptable price, and I'll definitely be betting him. As far as the Gold Cup goes, I've got 2 anti-post bets running already. The main one being on Clan des Obeaux, who punt readers one I've been pretty keen on really from after the Betfair. I think I'm amazed that he's not favourite for this, to be perfectly honest now. I think his form absolutely stacks up this season. I don't know why people are trying to crab him, because to me all he does is look like a stayer, a proper out and out stayer. It's not like he was stopping at the end of Kempton. He was running away from him, and similarly, he's a bit idle, I'll grant you, but my word, he's a very impressive type to me. I think he's not only going to win the Gold Cup tomorrow, I think he'll win it for a year or two. Yeah, I know that's a bold statement to make at this stage, but that's how I feel about him right now. I think he could be another Paul Nicholls proper star in the making. I really do. He's only 7. Don't forget. I mean, he's had a handful of runs over fences. The naysayers will tell you he doesn't act over Cheltenham. That's utter nonsense. He acts around Cheltenham absolutely fine. You go through his form here with a fine-tooth comb, and he's been giving lumps of weight away to good horses at times. He's been second to Whisper, only just got beaten, and he went on and won a Hennessy. There's nothing wrong with his form at Cheltenham. He acts here fine. I think he's by far the most likely winner, and I really hope he wins tomorrow. As I say, not least for my bank balance, but I'd like to see him come out and take this lot to the cleaners. It's a good race. It's a good race, hard race. For those of you wanting something each way, probably Elegant Escape, I think, makes a bit of appeal. The sort of forgotten one of the Colin Tizard 3. But he was a Welsh National winner. Good trial for the Gold Cup, Welsh National. It shows that requisite stamina that you need. 3 mile 6 horses do well here in Gold Cups, and he improved on that. I know he got beat by Frodon, but he did improve on that Welsh National run when he got beaten by Frodon. So he still might be on an upward curve, and there still might be a bit more to come. And we know that Stamina's his long suit. So I think if you want something each way to back up whatever win bets you're having, I do like Elegant Escape. Don't ask me really about the Fox Hunters. I'm not the type. I've seen Hazel Hill in action. I do go to the points a few times. I've seen Hazel Hill. I actually saw Hazel Hill get beaten. I think it'll be about 1-12 at Sandon last year on Easter Saturday in a 3-horse race, and it got beat by a horse called Guard V, who actually went on himself to win a couple of more good races and won at Stratford on their big Hunter Chase, even on Horse and Hound night. So although we thought it at the time, it was a bit of a fluke. It wasn't a fluke at all. And Tinton Hazel has just done nothing but improve. Sorry, I was at Warwick when he took a field apart, but listen, as I say, listen to those that know their point to point. There's more than me, I think, on that race. However, here we go. The Grand Annual. I've already bet Le Presien. He's one of my bets of the week. Really, really fancy Le Presien. We've already seen earlier in the week with Beware the Bear, Vintage Clouds, horses that run well here. I keep stressing this. Horses that run well in handicaps here, in Cheltenham handicaps, come back and run well in Cheltenham handicaps. And we've seen it with the Grand Annual a few times in recent years. The horses that have filled the frame come back and run well again. Le Presien, don't forget, won this by 4.5 lengths last year, going away at the line. He was an easy winner. Somehow Paul Nicholls has got him back in here off just £1 higher. How he's done that, I don't know. It's some sort of magic trick. I think he's got a really strong chance here. Forget Sandown last time. I don't think he was happy there from the word go. I think he's happier left-handed than he is right-handed as well. This will be faster on again. Look at the pace in the race. There's at least 4 in here that's going to go from the front. It's going to be lickety split from the start. Barry's just got to sit tight on him, really, I think, and just bring in there again like he did last year. As long as he jumps around safely and avoids any hazards, I think Le Presien's got a massive chance of following up his win again last year. I really do. He's one of my stronger bets of the week, actually. And then the last, the usual wide open nightmare that is the Martin Pipe. The two at the top. There's 2 at the top of the handicap that make some appeal. Early Doors, who's top weight, taking a whopping drop in class here. He's been in a couple of grade ones last couple of starts and close third in this last year. He was £3 lower last year, but it looks like he's been readied again with this in mind. Very good jockey booking. Booked John Joe O'Neill Jr. for him. All sort of looks towards him running really well, I think. And similarly, if you say run, he's third in the handicap. He's got both good graded form, both good handicap form too. Her name this season. Nothing wrong with that close second to Jester Jet last time. She has that extra bit of stamina as well that you need for a race like this. They'd be my 2 against the field, I think, in the Martin Pipe at this stage. So there we go. I'll be back with a preview of the Toxteth Grand National Midlands Grand National on Saturday morning, time permitting. Well, that'll be it for Cheltenham. Let's hope there's a winner or 2 in there on Friday. Thanks a lot.